All right, it's 11 o'clock, so we'll get started. So welcome once again to this month's edition of our webinar. Some people on that are on this call, you've already are familiar with these webinars. You've participated in quite a few of them, so that's awesome, and you could keep coming back, and that's even better. So hopefully we have some additional and interesting information for you this morning. It's a little bit of a smaller group here this morning, so for whatever reason, but that's totally fine. That leaves us for maybe more question and answers that you may want to ask at any time during the presentation or at the end. So we definitely want to make some time for answering your questions. So most of you know the drill. So please mute your microphones. If you're not speaking, feel free to switch it on, including your video. If you'd like to ask a question, that's totally fine. Or you can use the chat box to type in your question, and then we'll respond to it as well. So I have Katie on this call with me, and she will be checking this chat box during the presentation and making sure everything goes smoothly. So also, just so you know, this webinar will be recorded for future reference, and we will send that out to the participants as well. So I just want to make you aware of that. And we generally trim it down to just the presentation part, so we don't have the Q&A necessarily part of this the video that we share with everybody. So with that, again, welcome. Today we're going to talk about capturing and nurturing leads. Now, this is an area that a lot of you may not be very familiar with yet. So it's kind of a topic that doesn't get talked about a lot by small business owners in general. It does get a lot of attention in the marketing world, though. So I think it's definitely timely that we bring up a topic like this. So yeah, without further ado, I'll just continue on and see if I can get this to work. So for the new people on the call, Edge is, we're a website and marketing firm based out of Lacombe, Alberta, in beautiful central Alberta, and beautiful day out here today. Hopefully it's nice where you're at as well. We're looking forward to this spring, and I think we're probably looking forward to the spring more than ever before for a lot of people. We can't wait for this season to kind of end. So. Anyway, if you have any questions about that, we can definitely answer those. But we build lead generating websites. That's a big part of our job that are rooted in strategy. And we work with our clients on a very strong marketing strategy to really increase their business, to increase their visibility through local search engine optimization, the paid online ads, content marketing, and the email and lead nurturing. So the last part of our services is what we're going to talk about this morning. So these are the kind of the topics that I would like to cover this morning. This is the fourth section of the four-step digital marketing plan that we have presented in some of the other webinars. So if you've been with us for the other ones, it kind of builds on the other stages in that plan. So we'll be talking about that. Then I want to introduce you to a concept, becoming a marketing farmer rather than being hunting for clients all the time. So I'll explain that in a moment, what that means. We're gonna go back to the base again. What is a lead actually? What does that mean, right? Because in any industry, and the same in our industry, some of the jargon and the terminology may not be familiar to everybody. Then we're going to talk about how we can capture leads, like basically prospective new clients. What are some of the strategies and tactics that we can use to get more clients? And I'm not sure about you, but most of the clients we talk to always are looking for more clients. And that is just part of business. You're always looking for to increase your business or to at least grow your business. And even if you don't want to grow your business, you still have to be looking for new customers, because you will eventually lose customers as well. So and then we're going to talk about how can you, once we capture those leads, how can we actually nurture those leads and actually build relationships with them to guide them along a path to eventually become a buying customer, because that's ultimately the goal. And then at the end, we'll have a Q&A session for you to ask any questions about this topic or about any other marketing or business related topic. We gladly try to answer any questions that you may have. Again, this is the overview of the 4 stages. So it all starts with a very clear message. Like if you don't know exactly what the problem is that you're solving for your clients, it's going to be really difficult for you to communicate who you are and why it matters. So that's the very first step. Then the second step is the lead generating website. And I know most of you have of course, have the website in place and taken care of. There's always more work you can do on a website as well, but that's a very important cornerstone of your online marketing. Then last month we talked about, okay, we have these things in place. We have a great message. We have a very strong website. Now, how can we attract more visitors to our website? So we talked about it last month through paid advertising to some of those other techniques. So now today we'll talk about capturing and nurturing leads. So basically, like once you actually end up on this website or directed to your website, how can we actually, instead of just them visiting and then leaving without any trace, how can we actually capture some of that traffic and the people that are interested in what you have to offer? And how can we build that relationship to, like I said earlier, to guide them along this journey of going from a prospect to actually like a paying customer. And again, if you're in the not-for-profit world, then of course you may not talk about like a customer necessarily, but you have stakeholders or you have an audience that you're trying to connect with. So the same principles apply. So going back to the basics, just the kind of the terminology, so we all kind of agree on what a lead is, and I think most of you already know this anyway, but I thought I'd just quickly review that. So a lead is a high value potential customer. So it's actually somebody that's, through your marketing efforts, to whatever you're doing for your outreach, has raised his or her hand and says, "Hey, I'm interested in what you have to offer. Tell me more." So they're not necessarily just ready to open up their wallets and sign the deal, but they're interested in what you have to offer, and you want to find out if you, first of all, if you can solve their problem that they have, and if they trust you enough to choose you if they're looking for a provider to actually work on that problem for them. So it is somebody that's kind of stands out of the crowd. So now you're not. The big difference between like mass marketing and lead generation really is that you're focusing on the people that have shown some interest, and you're focusing your efforts on the people that are high, much higher or probability to actually buy from you. Instead of just communicating with everybody, you're trying to zoom in on the people that actually are interested in what you have to offer. You actually are a good fit for them as well. So how do people raise their hands? Well, it could be they filled in a form on your website, and we talk a little later about some of the strategies that you can have to actually encourage people to leave their email on your website. It could be a live chat on a website, which again, some of our clients are starting to experiment with the live chat feature on the website. It's it's definitely out there. Like a lot of larger companies, especially if you're strictly online. The online chat is actually a really good source of new prospects as well, because again, people they want to interact, they want an instant reply, and that could be a very good way to do it. Or they simply called your number. So this is a lead. This is a real person that actually has called your office for more information. Or they have interacted on social media. They've asked a question on your Facebook profile, or they've tried to make contact with you. So those are all indications, of course, that they're actually interested in what you have to offer. So that's what the lead is. So now, why would we worry about capturing those leads, right? So the one thing that I want to introduce to you is kind of the diagram on the left side of the screen. And that's kind of the way we see a typical market for a lot of businesses, and the makeup of who's part of that overall market. So if you look at the percentages there, like most often, about 3% of the people that are in your market are actually ready to buy today. Okay, so they have an immediate need, or they've already done their research. They're just ready to open their wallet and make the purchase. And of course, that's an important group that we need to cater to, because they're making a decision now. So you want to make sure that you're front and center, and then that you actually follow up with those people, and yeah, hopefully get that business from them. However, there's also a couple other categories of groups that we probably should pay attention to. And according to this diagram, the second group, the 7%, is very open to buying or pursuing the relationship, but they're just not quite ready yet. There's things they need to, check out with you, find out more information. Just going to take them a little bit of time to make the decision, but they're very, very interested in what you have to offer. So they're a very important group to cater to as well. And then the third group, the 30%, is a group of prospective clients that may be interested in, or they're definitely interested in what you have to offer, but not yet. Like maybe the truck they're driving is still good for another year, so they will not make another like a purchase decision in the next year. But how can we capture those people when it actually comes to making that purchase decision? So that's another really important group of people that marketers, in our opinion, small businesses should pay attention to. And the reality is, a lot of small businesses are focusing on the 3% only. If you look at their advertising, it talks about the immediate offer, the discount, or something like that. And that works for the 3% because they are ready to pull the trigger on their purchase. But we also should. I'm making the argument also we should pay attention to the larger group. So there's a question coming in here on the chat, so I may as well just maybe address that right away. So the question is here: the 3% and 7% leave a website when there's no payment online available. Barry's asking. I don't necessarily that the factor is if there's a payment option. It's more that if they land on your website and there's actually nothing there if they're not want to contact you to set up an appointment or to purchase or call your office to inquire, there should be some other things on the website that they can download, or valuable information that they can download, and actually that way you start building that relationship. I'll come back to that, Barry, in a little bit, maybe towards the end. So then there's if you go to the left side of this diagram, there's another group of people that are completely not interested in what you have to offer, and I think every business can relate to that, and that's totally fine. Like, we don't have to really lose any sleep over those people, because maybe we're not a good fit for them, maybe they're just not the right kind of clients for us. So that's okay. Like, every business needs to realize they can't serve everybody. And then finally, there's another 30%, and these numbers are roughly just kind of as an illustration, that wouldn't even buy your product if it were free. And I'm not sure about you, but I can relate to that in a way, that they're just clients out there, or people out there that have different needs than what you have to offer, perhaps, and that's fine. And again, let's not worry about those people as much. So again, by starting to focus on the 40% in the orange, so to speak, and instead of just on the 3%, you're going to increase your the reach of your marketing, like, significantly, right? And that's what the lead capturing and lead nurturing is all about. To stay in touch with the people that are interested in what you have to offer, but they're just not ready to buy right away. So we have to come up with different ideas and strategies to stay in touch with those people and nurture them to the point that they actually are ready to make that purchase. So the analogy is, are you a marketing hunter, or are you a farmer? So the hunter is basically going out every day to hunt for new clients. And again, of course, we need to do that as well. But besides that, we also need to become more of a marketing farmer. And that the marketing farmer idea is, okay, you have somebody that has raised his or her hand. They are interested in what you have to offer, but how can you keep connecting with them? So guide them along this way to actually becoming a paying customer. So, and again, most small businesses are hunters at this point, and I think we can all relate to that, hopefully. So now the challenge is to actually go beyond that and actually say, hey, beside that, just hunting for the people, we actually also need to make sure that we make good use of the other people that are interested in what we have to offer. So this is another diagram, that I've used in the past, and it kind of gives an overview of like how a typical sales process would work. Like again, very few people are buying right from the first time they hear about your company, right? Depending on what you're selling, of course, but most often they do some research, they find out about you on social media or through your website to search. Um, but they may not necessarily just be ready to make take the next step. They need to find out more. So what this diagram shows is, and this has a little bit to do with like if you have salespeople or even as a business owner, you're doing the selling for your company. If you can, it takes a lot of different points of contact for a prospect, like a lead, to become an actual customer, right? And this process is not as linear as this diagram maybe shows, but it's kind of an illustration of how it typically works in a lot of cases, especially if the product you're selling is a high value product. So it's a relatively high investment. It's going to take time to actually lead this client along the way from getting to know you or getting to find out about you to actually buying the product. So again, if you look at some of these numbers, like if you could even like build a system or have systems in place for follow-up of people that you've talked to in the past, or just simply by following up and making that phone call, maybe not only just once but maybe twice or even three times, the likelihood of this lead becoming a customer is going to be significantly higher than if you just leave them alone. So again, the nurturing, and we'll come to that in some more practical examples in a minute. But the nurturing is basically building that relationship and educating those clients. Make hopefully they like what you have to offer. They like you as a person. Maybe that's really important as well. But you're guiding them along this journey from getting to know you to actually making a purchase in the end. Now, does everybody make a purchase in the end? Probably not. There's always some drop off in all those phases. But the reality is, if you have a system in place to follow up, your sales are going to increase significantly. So, what are some of the basics of lead generation? So, basically, getting more prospective customers, but qualified protect, potential customers. So, not just anybody, but it's actually somebody that you already know that has an interest in you. For example, if you are planning a wedding, you're not going to be searching Google for wedding planning or wedding venues or anything like that unless you actually have a wedding in your family or wedding yourself. It's like so you already know that the people are interested in what you have to offer. So by focusing on the people that have shown interest and give them some valuable content, like it could be like a PDF that they can download on 7 things to think about when planning a wedding, for example. People really appreciate free information, especially nowadays. Like the last couple of years, that the hunger for information has significantly increased. So you more or less you're giving them an ethical bribe, we call it. So you're actually giving them something for free, and there's no obligation, but there is just they're getting to know you first of all before they even talk to you or even email you. They already get a taste of what you have to offer. So that's generally the way that new leads are being brought to your business. So what's the purpose of lead generation? Well, it's to start a conversation. It's not about closing the sale. Like it's kind of like it's not about asking somebody to marry you on your first date. It's about starting a conversation to get to know the customer and for them to get to know you before even some of those other transactions are happening. Now, again, I want to re-emphasize, of course, closing the sale is important at the end, but it's not really the purpose of this. That comes at the very end. And if you do this right, that conversion or that making the sale will be much more natural than really, high pressure sales techniques or the ABCs of closing and all those things. I mean, they can work, but a lot of people don't really want to be sold to. They just want to they want to find a guide, like a partner that they can trust, that is able to solve their problem. So there's basically two kinds of lead generation. So the inbound lead generation, that's really what we're talking about here. So it's having getting people to know you before they even you ask them for a sale. And then there's outbound lead generation as well. And that's more the like a broadcast approach. Okay, so then you're basically, the traditional advertising was kind of based on that principle. So you're throwing out a message as many people as possible, and hopefully some people or percentage of the people will respond to you and actually have that the problem or the need that you have a solution for. So again, the inbound lead generation is much more effective in my opinion. It's also a lot more fun. Like I'm not sure, some of you probably have done cold calling and knocking on doors, and that's it's really hard for some people to do that day after day, right? So, and again, there's a need for that as well, the personal connection and making the sales. But whatever you can do to kind of prepare your customers to get to that point will really actually help your sales force as well. Like if you do work with salespeople, it will really make their job a lot easier because they're pre-qualified and they already know your company to a certain extent. So, bottom line is like a conversation lead to conversions. That's without having a conversation with somebody and just expect them to buy from you right from the first date that you have with this client, it's not really super effective most of the time, right? So but if you have a conversation and you position yourself as this trusted guide, now you have a much better chance, we believe, to eventually build a relationship and get that sale. So what are some of the benefits of lead generation? Well, first of all, it's the brand awareness. Like what you're doing with your marketing will increase you're educating your market. People find out that you're the expert in a certain area. They want to talk to you about how you think about solving their problem, how you can do it. And yeah, like that really, like once they actually have that problem, or they do need an air compressor, or they do need a certain product, now all of a sudden you're probably a very likely business that they want to talk to about actually purchasing that, because they trust you, they already trust you and like you. So you're a couple steps ahead of the game. Lead generation is also focusing on your target market. So it's just not really, you don't want to attract everybody to your business, because that's first of all impossible, like we've seen earlier. I don't think there's any business that can honestly say that they can serve anybody. You always have this, the better you are at defining your niche, the people, like the business or the products that you're really good at, you're going to be like the message that you send to those people will really resonate more with those prospective clients. Again, you instead of selling, you're actually educating, so you're creating trust and authority. You're the authority in your field. If you can give people that impression, it's a very very comfortable place to be as a company, because everybody wants to deal with the experts when it comes down to it. So it's a great way of growing your customer base, of course, right? And that's again, like if all your business comes from referrals right now, that's great. But eventually, if you want to grow, besides referrals, you also need to have basically new clients all the time, like what I said earlier, right? I'm just going to pause you for just one sec here, and then allow Katie to maybe contribute as well. Like if I missed anything, or if there's anything else, I want to encourage you to jump in as well. So yeah, so that's why we would want to do lead generation. Now, so what are some of the things that you can do? So these are more like practical examples of, okay, how can you get people that land on your website, for example? Um, a certain percent of the people that land on your website, yeah, they want to buy your product, so they will be contacting you right away or setting up the meeting or whatever your sales process is. But that's only the 3%. So the other, 30% or so. No, we said 40%, right? I gotta get my numbers straight here. But the other percentage, of course, they're not ready to buy today. So what can we do to capture their information, basically, right? Because you want to build your list, your prospect list, and somebody that lands on your website today and is not ready to buy, will they remember to go back there 3 months or 6 months from now? Not necessarily, right? Like people have a fairly short memory. So we want to make sure that we, at the very least, capture their email. So how can we do that? A free ebook. Like the example of the wedding planner, like 7 things to think about when you plan a wedding. That could be a valuable piece of information for somebody that's planning a wedding. A free report, like an industry report or something that's interesting for your target audience that they would be interested in. Again, it's a very good way to give people another option to download some information from your website. And at the same time, to do that, and I'm sure you're familiar with this, you give that company your email address, right? So as long as the exchange of value is high enough, so the people say, actually, I see the value of this report or this download. People are willing to give their coveted email address because they want to have this information. So again, that's why I said it's kind of an ethical bribe, because you're giving something away for free, and people in return, they don't mind leaving their email address in case, in order to do that, right? And that's oftentimes how those how lead magnet works. Now, of course, once you have that address, you need to be very careful with that, what you do with that, and wouldn't recommend at all to get on the phone with them the next minute when they download this document. But it's just that goes into a database, and it's somebody that you can follow up with in a little while. Training videos are really like a super hot commodity at this point. Like there's all kinds of courses, so they're free courses on all kinds of topics that you can take. But of course, in order to do the course, you need to leave behind your email address, and most people are okay with that. If they feel that they're getting value for what they're after. Newsletters, that's they've been around for a long time. People sign up for newsletters, and that gives you the opportunity to constantly stay in contact with them. Now, the sign up on newsletters, you have to be, again, you have to be very clear exactly what you're offering them in your newsletter. Like if it's promotional emails, like some industries that works great because people are just interested in what's on sale. For example, if you look at my wife's inbox on her email, I think I counted some of the promotional emails, and I think 75% of her emails are actually from companies, from stores that have sales, and she's interested in that. So she does basically, she doesn't unsubscribe to those messages. She actually likes getting them from those companies. So, and you can do the same. Yeah, so then when it comes to, if you don't explain exactly what they're getting for the newsletter, then not many people will automatically sign up. But if you explain, okay, we're giving you like a monthly tip or a weekly tip, people may say, yeah, that's actually really, really cool. And there's always this way to unsubscribe on those lists as well. Case studies and customer testimonials are another great way that you can create content that people may download and really will help you to capture their interest, and then also, more importantly, actually start building that list of prospective clients, leads. Blogging, like writing content on your website or off your website, like content for social media. Of course, that's a tool that's oftentimes used as well to drive traffic back to your website to download this ebook or this piece of free information. most of the time the conversions are happening on the website, and that's why it's so important to have this website property, and you own the website as well. And you can't say the same thing about your social media platforms, but that's a whole different topic on its own. And then, yeah, referrals are always, of course, important, right? Like if you get referrals, that's probably the best marketing that you can have. And I know a lot of you have those referrals. So people are referred to you already have a certain level of trust in what you have to offer, right? So you don't have to, like the cycle from bringing them from a prospect to actually buying customers generally a little bit shorter because they already trust you. So that's really an important source for a lot of small businesses. And then there's also the pay-per-click advertising, like through Google Ads and Facebook ads. And again, instead of actually trying to sell a product in those ads, you can, which is one purpose of those ads and a very effective way of doing that. But that's mainly geared towards the people are ready to buy in the very near future. You can also use those tools like the pay-per-click, for example, to promote your free ebook, for example, right? And don't even talk about selling them anything, but just making them aware of it, driving it to the website, and having that conversion there as far as signing up for this mailing list. So now we've generated some leads in all these different areas, and we start working on our mailing list, so to speak, right, of prospective leads. And that's, again, we did a whole webinar on email marketing, and that would be one area that email marketing would work on. So what's the next step then? Like, now we're getting actually so we have a lead, we have captured the information. So now how can we build this relationship with this client? So that's the next phase. Katie, I'm just gonna open it up for you. Do you want to add anything to the lead generation section here?
Yeah, so just being able to add value, provide that value to kind of provide interest for those customers is going to bring them in, attract them, because they want, in the end, people are just kind of looking it out in their better interest. They want to have value added to the service or products they're looking to buy. So by adding that even before they get to the sales process is definitely an added benefit for your customers, and in the end, potentially for your business as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for clarifying that. So yeah, so now we're moving into the part of the lead nurturing. So now we have these contacts. So what can we do? What are some of the things that we can do to actually, again, build a relationship? Go back to this diagram of I think it was 14 or 15 steps. Now, again, that's just an example, but generally it takes more than one conversation actually to bring somebody from knowing you to actually buying you. So that's, I think we can all agree on that. So most customers are on a journey, right? And again, that depends on the service you provide, but it's generally not 100% linear from, okay, I know you and I'm going to buy your product. It just generally doesn't work like that. So the challenge for you is to become that guide that can lead them through the decision process and the buying process, basically. Like, you're positioning yourself through the information you provide, the free information, generally speaking. You become that guy, that expert in the field that they trust. And like, again, if you trust somebody and you know that they can solve your problem, there's a pretty good opportunity or possibility that they would actually, if they are in the position that they have to buy this new truck, who are they going to talk to? They're probably going to talk to the person that has helped them along the journey so far. So it's very important to help to give them like useful information. Like, again, a lot of the things we see in marketing these days is all about adding value, like Katie said, like making your life better, free of charge. And don't even talk about necessarily about the product or the service that you're selling, right? Of course, in the end, there's places that you need to ask for have a call to action to act on that information. But in a lot of cases, it is we're not starting out with that, because we truly believe that if we educate our customers, they will we build this relationship of trust, and it's proven over again that that's a lot of people are looking for, that expert, that guide. So if you can be that guide in your industry, I think that's a really great position to be, to do your marketing from. So again, back to the messaging maybe a little bit, but don't focus so much on yourself, about your company necessarily, but focus on the problem that your customers are facing, or the need that they have, right? So, like, what do they need? Like what does keeps them up at night? Like some of the more emotional triggers that people have to deal with. What are their hopes and ambitions? If you can tap in some of those questions with the information, with the free information that you provide, you're building this relationship of trust. So again, bringing back the analogy about being a marketing hunter or a farmer. So how do you actually do that, right? Like how can you actually be more aware of catering to the larger group of prospects that is really interested in what you do, but they just haven't made up their mind yet, or just not quite ready yet. So again, focus your advertising on people that are interested, by providing information that it would be helpful for them, right? So again, uh, it's really important to have information that you can actually solve their problem before they even become a part of their problem, before they even become a paying customer. That's ideal, because then they can try out and get a feel for who you are as a company. The lead magnets, we just talked about that, right? So a lead magnet are those the things that you can post on your website or offer to your prospective clients before you ask them to actually make a purchase. And then the next step, of course, is the building that contact database, which again, in our opinion, is so important, because again, it gives you direct contact to a group of people that are interested. And if you compare that to like a Facebook following, for example, or a LinkedIn following, especially on Facebook, you don't really have a direct way of communicating with them necessarily, right? Whereas your email list, your contact database, you do. You actually, they're real people, they're real emails, or whatever information you collect. So again, you have a really valuable list of prospective people that you want to nurture this relationship, so then eventually they become paying clients. And that's kind of the idea behind being a farmer. So you nurture the relationship, and then in the end, you're looking for this harvest, right? And you harvest these clients, and maybe that's not a respectful way of saying harvesting clients, but in a way it's true. Like you just more organically gain more clients, because they have grown up to know you, and you've given them the information, you've given them all the right tools to make a final decision. So what are some of the benefits? Well, again, you stay in touch with them, like I said earlier. Like if they interact with you today, even a phone call or a visit to your website, will they remember you 3 months, 6 months from now? In a lot of cases, they don't, right? They would start their search all over again. So if you can somehow capture that information, that's really important, and then start building that relationship. So they will remember you when it's time to buy. So it also will boost sales, because conversations lead to conversions, right? If you don't have the opportunity to have a conversation with your prospective client, there's the smaller chance that they will actually become a customer. Then there's like there's CRM systems, so they're computerized systems that you can manage the databases with, and a lot of companies are starting to use them now. And I think that's a really powerful way to maximize your marketing efforts. So with that, like actually I'm listing a few potential tools here that you could use. Like a lot of people are familiar with MailChimp. That's an email marketing program. At Edge here, we started using something called Active Campaign, which is a more comprehensive program. Email program is actually much more than an email program. You can set all kinds of automations in there. So if people push a certain button, something will happen, and the customer will not necessarily see this, but you as a business owner will have the insights what people have been doing, which what they have, how they responded, what they've done afterwards. So it gives quite a good source of marketing information that you can really use in qualifying some of your clients and really finding out what people are interested in. Katie, you're kind of working with Active Campaign. You want to add anything to that?
Yeah, definitely. So it's nice with the automations. You can create different actions for the system to take. You can have it send out an email, or you even if they're visit a certain page on your website, they can send out a certain action, and even you can create a whole sequence of actions to create. So, say they download an ebook, you can create a whole sequence of emails to send out if they don't happen to, if they do or do not happen to take an action. So it's really nice to be able to actually plan that out ahead, then implement it into a CRM system and have it kind of all automated for you.
Yeah. So that's actually we're just getting started on it, but that's actually more and more small businesses now are really getting into some of those some of those tools, because it's really it could be potentially a gold mine, like your list of prospective clients, and you need a way. Most businesses need a way to manage that. So there's some really interesting tools available. If you have any specific questions about that, by all means, we can definitely answer those. It is definitely, it's going to take effort to implement some of those things, but I think in the long run, you will save a lot of time, and you're going to be more diligent, or like if processes are automated to follow up with clients, or even to send out regular kind of emails to people that have worked with you in the past, and you don't have to think too much about it, but because we're limited to only doing so much work in 8 hours a day. So if you can automate some of those things in a good way, you can really serve your clients better in a way. And especially when you have prospects, you can really, like Katie said, set up like an email sequence. And I'm sure we all have experienced this. You download something, or you join something. 3 days later, maybe there's a follow-up email that say, hey, you downloaded our ebook. Hope you enjoyed it. Here's another piece of free information. Then 5 days later there's a follow-up, but and based on the action that people take, like if they would, for example, contact the company, then they go on a different email sequence after that. But there's clients probably in our database that, or prospects I should say, so leads that have been there for quite a while, and up until now they haven't actually necessarily bought anything from us, which is fine, right? But it's just the process of getting stay connected with those people that really makes it a lot easier than like when those people need a new website, for example, or need some work done. We probably going to be one of the people that they want to talk to. So and you can be that, you can do that for your clients as well. Again, if there's some way you can give something like a service away for free, and actually help people with a part of their problem, maybe. Of course, you don't want to give away your service or your product for free. That's just nonsense, of course. But oftentimes, what we look for is kind of a foot in the door offer, like like a free evaluation of of something that yeah, you have to be creative sometimes, but there's a lot of ways that you can do this. For example, give you an example again for what we could do is a free evaluation of your website. For example, like a new client comes to us and they think they need a new website, but they're not 100% sure. They don't know what's wrong with the existing one, or they're not really sure what to look for. So one of the things that we can do is, well, we'll give you a free evaluation of your current website, for example, and give you some ideas, some strengths and some weaknesses that you may have to work on. And again, that's a very appealing offer for a lot of prospects, because first of all, they, regardless of what they do in the end, if they're going to deal with us or not, it doesn't really matter. But they have this valuable piece of information that they can do something with. Then again, other tools are, like social media, blogs, webinars, like that. Those are all tools that you can use to disperse some of this information. And what you oftentimes see is, like in a blog post or a post on social media or on LinkedIn, will just be like a little bit of a teaser of the full product, right? Like they'll give you a little bit of a taste of what's in the ebook, for example, or what's in the checklist, but they don't give it to you. They basically, you refer people back to the website to actually download and actually get it done there. So again, those are all really useful tools to, to stay in touch with your existing clients and gaining new prospective leads. Okay, so in conclusion, I just want to leave some time for questions here. So not everybody's ready to buy, so you need to be really aware of that. The group of people that are very interested in you and what you have to offer, we just need to capture them so we can, you can build this relationship. If you don't have that, if you don't capture the information, you don't have that opportunity. You're going to a more of a broadcast approach again, whereas you want to really be targeted on the people that are interested and have raised their hand, so to speak. Um, you know, Build those relationships and stop being so sales focused, maybe, right? Just give people some time to get to know you and start to trust you before they actually try to buy the product from you. Education is really important. Education is high pressure sales is really not that effective in most cases. Nobody likes a high pressure salesperson if they're not ready to make that decision, right? So it's, although you may get the sale, oftentimes if you push people too hard, there's going to be problems at the back end, like when they actually start working with you, or it's a really tricky scenario. And then again, the last thing was when we talked a little bit about technology that's available to do some of this lead capturing and the lead nurturing. And if you haven't already done so, I would highly recommend looking into that for your business as well, and see how that can kind of help you to be more efficient, right, with your limited resources that you do have. So I want to thank you for being part of this morning once again. Stay tuned for our next webinar.